I don't hear anything. Welcome to the Out There channel, live stream 382.
Hiding, I'm searching, I'm loving.
Hopefully it's all working.
Finding love, I'm hiding, I'm searching, I'm loving. I'm finding.
So I wonder who's out there today.
Let fate control your body.
It's party. And we begin. Was meaning to start 2 hours ago, but I had a few problems. So what else is new, they say.
I'm searching, I'm loving, I'm finding.
Good to be back. Good to be back, good to be back. Okay. Looks like it's working. Hopefully. After all the changes again. So, what are we doing today? I've been meaning to do Socorro again, a recap of it, to put all the information together, why it's still available, because the web's always changing. So I'll just type up my welcome message first, it'll come up on the side chat. Let's see how it'll go. It's all unscripted. Hopefully we'll do other things as well, but see how it goes. My fruit's a bit croaky. Yeah, it seems to be running fast enough. Let me just do a few checks. Yep. Not sure if Area 51's around. Haven't seen him lately, so I'm not sure if he's on holiday or sick or what. But yeah, hopefully he joins us. And we need some people to join us. Okay. Seems to be running alright, yeah. Just reorganize some stuff here. I might have to read out some stuff too, so I might see how that goes again. Hopefully it doesn't lock up. I normally do a pre-check. Microsoft Edge. It's more like Microsoft CPU consumer. I'm pretty sure I clicked on it a few times now. Why is it not starting up? Finally. UFO Stalker. Yeah, we need to do some more MUFON stuff, don't we? We'll get round to it. Okay. How's the CPU looking? Let's have a look. Hanging around about 27. That's not too bad at the moment. We got one watching who's out there. Just say hello on the side. How's the audio sounding? We get that horrible crackle sometimes. Okay, it looks like it might not be crackling from what I can tell anyway. So first up, Socorro. Probably need to do a rundown from the Project Blue Book page. Oh yeah, that will do. Nicap. It's a good summary of his statement. Initial statement, I should say. So let's see if the reader's going to work for us. If it looks up, that we don't want. So let's go through what he's described at first, and then I'll add my stuff in. I've got a folder here with images, and I also did a live show, three of them, on this topic, where there's some new witnesses that come forward a few years ago. So I've got a playlist for them, but we should be able to search for it here, and we might need to reference them. Oh, almost knocked my screen over. Socorro. Damn, small font, I can't read it. Yeah, it should be 3 that comes up, and a playlist. 1, 2, 3. Okay. So the last one was with Robert, who is a defender of the case. Me, I just look at it through fresh eyes, right? I wanted to do it as a science project. If we can get hold of the original facts, which is always the hardest thing, is finding information for old cases, because this comes from 1964. Even before I was born. So where's Robert's one? Should be in the list. Here we go. No. Ted Phillips, that's not it. Oh, here it is. Socorro incident debate, Rob vs. Paul. So we might need to go back to that one. Okay, let's see if this reads, and we'll go from there.
Officer Lonnie Zamora's report from Project Blue Book.
I'll just check.
Socorro, New Mexico. Officer Socorro PD about 5 years. Office phone 835-0941. Now on 2 p.m. to 10 o'clock p.m. shift. About 5:45 p.m. April 24th, 64, while in Socorro, 2 police car, 64 Pontiac White, started to chase a car due south from west side of courthouse. Car was apparently speeding and was about 3 blocks in front. At point on Old Rodeo Street, extension of Park St. South, near George Murillo residence, about 1/8 mile south of Spring Street, the chased car was going straight ahead toward rodeo grounds. Car chased was a new black Chevrolet. It might.
So it reads out underscores, but obviously that's information that's been blacked out. Obviously, or what they do now is they call it the whiteout because it looks less bad. So yeah, we're going to get a few underscores talked about here. Unfortunately, the reader is not that clever in respect to the underscores, so you just have to put up with it reading them out.
Might have been _____ boy about 17. Chased car still about 3 blocks ahead. _____ alone. At this time heard a roar and saw a flame in the sky to southwest some distance away, possibly a half a mile or a mile. Came to mind that a dynamite shack in that area had blown up, decided to leave chased car go. Flame was bluish and sort of orange too. Could not tell size of flame.
Okay, so apparently it landed near a old mining site. So that's why he thought there was dynamite there, because there was mining in the area. I suppose really I should have a map up of the area, shouldn't I? So this is a problem with websites. They don't have all the information with maps and where it's meant to be and all that sort of stuff. But we try and fill it in here. Socorro, New Mexico. There we go, I think. Damn, my eyes are blown up again, unfortunately. So there's a little square block here. Go to satellite, you can see it's quite a rocky area. And you can see why there probably would be mining there. And there's also the Air Force Base there. What is it, White Sands or something? Let's see. To Air Force Base. Okay, let's see what we get for that. Okay. Brooklyn Air Force Base up there, but that's not the one, is it? Is it White Sands? There's some white sand there. What else we got? Let's put White Sands on there. Like I said, I'm not really up to speed with all the names and dates and things, so that's in the opposite direction. So I think that's where part of the story comes into play. So there you go, there's the White Sands, which is basically what I was saying. That's where the name comes from. So the Air Force Base will be there somewhere. So we get the idea. Looks like some test grounds here. Is that blast craters all around by the looks of it? Shame it doesn't put the Air Force Base on there. White Sands AFB. Okay. So how's that work? Okay, some more White Sands over this way. Is that the Air Force Base there? Oh, we got the wrong location. Doesn't look like the Air Force Base, does it? Let's put in something else here. White Sands. Get rid of that one again. Maybe it's called Proving Ground, is it? White Sands. Is it coming up? Proving Ground? Is that coming up? Here we go, missile range. I suppose that would be it. Let's see where that is. Okay, that is going up to there. Way at the top here. What was the other one we had here? Air Force Base. What was that road there? It's still on the map. So, now we got it. Missile range. I thought I'd see some. Where's the runways for it then? It's got to be around here somewhere. But yeah, you can see, looks like a perfect area for doing testing of secret military craft, missiles and bomb tests and all that sort of stuff. Okay, so let's go back to the story.
Flame. Sort of motionless flame, slowly descending. Was still driving car, and could not pay too much attention to the flame. It was a narrow type of flame. It was like a stream down dash a funnel type, narrower at top than at bottom. Flame possibly 3 degrees or so in width, not wide. Flame about twice as wide at bottom as top, and about 4 times as high as top was wide. Did not notice any object at top, did not note if top of flame was level. Sun was to west and did not help vision. Had green sunglasses over prescription glasses. Could not see bottom of flame because it was behind the hill. No smoke noted. Noted some commotion at bottom, dust? Possibly from windy day, wind was blowing hard. Clear sunny sky, otherwise just a few clouds scattered over area. Noise was a roar, not a blast. Not like a jet. Changed from high frequency to low frequency, and then stopped. Roar lasted possibly 10 seconds, was going toward it at that time on the rough gravel road.
A roar
Saw
sound.
flame about as long as heard the sound. Flame same color as best as recall. Sound distinctly from high to low until it disappeared. Windows both were down. No other spectators noted, no traffic except the car in front, and car in front might have heard it, but possibly did not see it because car in front was too close to hill in front to see the flame. After the roar and flame, did not note anything, while going up the somewhat steep rough hill had to back up and try again, 2 more times. Got up about halfway first time, wheels started skidding, roar still going on, had to back down and try twice and rock. While beginning third time, noise and flame not noted. After got to top, traveled slowly on the gravel road westwardly. Noted nothing for a while, for possibly 10 or 15 seconds, went slow, looking around for the shack, did not recall exactly where the dynamite shack was. Suddenly noted a shiny type object to south about 150 to 200 yards. It was off the road. At first glance, stopped. It looked, at first, like a car turned upside down. Thought some kids might have turned over. Saw 2 people in white coveralls very close to the object. One of these persons seemed to turn and look straight at my car, and seemed startled, seemed to jump quickly somewhat. At this time I started moving my car towards them quick.
So he saw it go behind a hill, so he headed over that way. Doesn't sound like it was a very big flame coming out the bottom, like we see with SpaceX, for what he's saying there. Like a narrow, skinny, long flame that was wider at the bottom, but he didn't say what the dimensions were, which is a bit unfortunate. Whatever that was asked in further questioning. Was my... oh no, it's not locked up, is it? Looks like it's locked up. Damn it. Okay, no, I don't think it's working. Hang on. Why is my thing not working? Let's restart it. Is it talking? Yep, here we go. Hello. Testing. Yep, okay, that's working now. I did lock up there for a wee while though. Yeah, what was I saying? So it's scary when the computer locks up like that. That's Windows 10 for you. Yeah, so he's talking about saw 2 figures in white overalls. Now, the new witness that come out forward, which we may be able to find again, said that he relayed the story at the time to his superior, who went into the bank and repeated the story to the bankers. And she said that he said there were silver suits. So could there be some information change that happened there? Was it silver suits, or did they change it later to white suits? So that always has me a wee bit worried there. If a new witness comes forward and relays a story, whether they recall the story properly, or did the superior to, well, his chief or whatever, sheriff, a superior sheriff that was in the bank trying to get some money after the event, did he get the story wrong? So that does make a difference with what colour suits it is, right? Because we have heard previously stories of UFOs that are egg-shaped that landed in Wales, which there was a silver-suited man at the window, and we also had that other case of a silver-suited alien that another cop saw in America, right? We covered that a few lives back. So it's worth going back to those stories and having a listen. But this is talking about white overalls. So let's assume that it's actually correct that the white overalls is the first statement. And who wear white overalls are normally technicians, right? It doesn't sound like space suits or anything like that that you expect on like the other stories that we've heard. So to me, that's a difference in the story right there. So let's just keep on listening to this, and hopefully we don't get any lockups. How's the audio sounding, by the way? Any problems? Can't hear anything, but we'll carry on.
Quickly, with idea to help. Had stopped about only a couple seconds. Object was like aluminum. It was whitish against the mesa background, but not chrome. Seemed like O in shape, and I at first glance took it to be overturned white car. Car appeared to be up on radiator or on trunk, this first glance. The only time I saw these two persons was when I had stopped, for possibly 2 seconds or so, to glance at the object.
So
I don't recall noting any.
How's a egg-shaped UFO at first look like an upside-down car? He's saying it looks like a trunk or the radiator. So, yeah, unless it's like a Volkswagen, is that what he means there? I don't know. Because that's like a beetle, isn't it? Beagle, as they call it. Which is like a sort of like a short round car that is shaped like that and flat on the bottom. But yeah, it's kind of strange that he thought it was an upside down car, not a spaceship. So let's keep on reading it.
Any particular shape or possibly any hats or headgear. These persons appeared normal in shape, but possibly they were small adults or large kids. Then paid attention to road while drove towards scene. So,
again, he's saying they sound like normal adults, but small adults. So that mean that they're sort of 5 foot, 4 foot. But he's saying here, small adults or large kids. So that doesn't sound like 3 foot alien greys there. 3 to 4 foot alien greys. This sounds like maybe 5 foot, not 6 footers, but about normal size. 4.5, maybe 5 foot. Maybe that's what he means. Because again, we got no specific measurements here, which is crucial to a UFO sighting, really. So this sort of stuff really annoys me because I need some facts to put it against science, and we can just say they roughly look like normal adults but smaller. So what are you saying, they're Japanese or something like that? Kind of strange. But they could be like South Americans, because they're pretty short people as well. Who else is pretty short humans in this world? Asians? Filipinos? So yeah, can't discount that they're just normal humans doing something, right? So misidentified. So let's just keep on listening.
Scene. Radioed to Sheriff's Office Socorro 2 to Socorro. Possible 10 to 44. Accident. I'll be 10 to 6. Busy. Out of the car. Checking the car down in the arroyo. Stopped car. Was still talking on radio. Started to get out. Mic fell down. Reached back to put up mic. Then replaced radio mic in slot. Got out of car and started to go down to where I knew the object car was. Hardly turned around from car when heard roar. Was not exactly a blast. Very loud roar at that close was real loud. Not like a jet knows what jets sound like. Started low frequency quickly. Then roar rose in frequency, higher tone, and in loudness from loud to very loud. At same time as roar saw flame. Flame was under the object. Object was starting to go straight up slowly up. Object slowly rose straight up. Flame was light blue and at bottom was sort of orange color from this angle. Saw the side of object, not end, as first noted. Difficult to describe flame. Thought from roar it might blow up. Flame might have come from underside of object, at middle, possibly a 4 feet area, very rough guess. Cannot describe flame further except blue and orange. No smoke, except dust in immediate area. As soon as saw flame and heard roar, turned.
So is he saying it's 4 foot wide there or 4 foot long? Again, be good to have a picture with dimensions drawn on. But it sounds like it's underneath, which sounds very human technology there, right? Totally anti-gravity that's got a flame underneath, right? So this is said to be one of the most famous UFO cases. And straight away it sounds more human-like than alien-like. 2 humanoids, normal size, slightly smaller. Flame underneath. Thought it was an upside-down car. So yeah, Hynek said the flame marks, scorch marks at that location seem too small to be a powerful enough rocket to lift up a car-sized object. So that was Hynek's quote from some of his notes that I've covered in previous live shows. So yeah, so what would create a small blue flame that lifts off slowly? Hynek reckons it doesn't sort of match up with science in that respect. Need a lot of big engines. Yeah, as you've seen, SpaceX makes a lot of steam, a lot of thrust that you have to be a certain distance away from it, and as you get the shockwave. So yeah, it doesn't sound like a conventional big rocket. So something else is more going on here at this stage. But what? And I'll cover that in a minute.
Turned away, ran away from object, but did turn head toward object. Bumped leg on car back fender area. Car facing southwest. Glasses fell to ground, left them there. Ran to north car between him and object. Object was oval in shape. It was smooth, no windows or doors. As roar started, it was still on or near ground. Noted red lettering of some type, see illustration. Insignia was about 2.5 high and about 2 wide, I guess. Was in middle of object, object still like aluminum white. After fell by car and glasses fell off, kept running to north, with car between me and object. Glanced back couple of times. Noted object to rise to about level of car, about 20 to 25 feet, took I guess about 6 seconds when object started to rise and I glanced back. I ran, I guess, about halfway to where I ducked down. About 50 feet from the car is where I ducked down, just over edge of hill. I guess I had run about 25 feet, when I glanced back, and saw the object level with the car, and it appeared about directly over the place where it rose from. I was still running and I jumped just over the hill. I stopped because I did not hear the roar. I was scared of the roar, and I had planned to continue running down the hill. I turned around toward the object and at same time put my head toward ground, covering my face with my arms. Being that there was no roar, I looked up, and I saw the object going away from me. It did not come any closer to me. It appeared to go in straight line, and at same height, possibly 10 to 15 feet from ground, and it cleared the dynamite shack by about 3 feet. Shack about 8 feet high. Object was traveling very fast.
So it could have been a big flame
and take off immediately across country.
So if it was set dynamite shack on fire, it would have been a big boom, right? So it makes you see that the flame coming out this thing couldn't be anything like what we see with SpaceX or the space shuttle. Requires a lot of energy and thrust to be able to lift off stuff.
Country. I ran back to my car, and as I ran back, I kept an eye on the object. I picked up my glasses, I left the sunglasses on ground, got into the car, and radioed to Nep Lopez, radio operator, to look out of the window, to see if you could see an object. He asked, "What is it?" I answered, "It looks like a balloon." I don't know if he saw it. If Nep looked out of his window, which faces north, he couldn't have seen it. I did not tell him at the moment which window to look out of. As I was calling Nep, I could still see the object. The object seemed to lift up slowly, and to get small in the distance very fast. It seemed to just clear the Box Canyon, or 6 Mile Canyon mountain. It disappeared as it went over the mountain. It had no flame whatsoever as it was traveling over the ground, and no smoke or noise. Feeling in good health. Last drink 2 or 3 beers was over a month ago.
So they're saying it had no flame when it was up in the sky. So what's that? They turned the engine off, right? Which is interesting. Traveling over the ground. And no smoke or noise. So obviously it got turned off. But we don't know what distances away the object is now, where it sees no flame. But that's crucial. If you ever playing watch, sometimes you see lights coming, but you don't hear the engines of the plane, right? And you can start to work out distances from your house or where you are, if you're walking the streets, how far away the object is, because I'm always doing that. I'm always judging when will I hear the engine noise. And it's amazing how close the planes have to get before you actually hear, depending on the direction of the wind, of course. So it could easily be, let's see, 1,000 feet before you even hear the engines. That's what I sort of estimate, but yeah, it's a bit hard to tell just by looking at lights in the sky, because we're right near a flight path where we live. And of course helicopters are the same. It depends how close they are and which direction the wind's going to be able to hear it. Sometimes you don't hear it if the winds go in the direction they're going. But anyway, so this sounds like, could that be what's happened here? That it's got a certain distance away, the wind direction is moving the sound away? Or have they turned off the engines?
Ago. Noted no odors. Noted no sounds other than described. Gave directions to Nep Lopez at radio, and to Sergeant M.S. Chavez to get there. Went down to where the object had been, and I noted the brush was burning in several places. At that time I heard Sergeant Chavez, NM State Police at Socorro, calling me on radio for my location, and I returned to my car, told him he was looking at me. Then Sergeant Chavez came up, asked me what the trouble was, because I was sweating, and he told me I was white, very pale. I asked the sergeant
Racist.
to see what I saw, and that was the burning brush. Then Sergeant Chavez and I went to the spot, and Sergeant Chavez pointed out the tracks. When I first saw the object, when I thought it might be a car, I saw what appeared to be 2 legs of some type from the object to the ground. At the time, I didn't pay much attention to what it was. I thought it was an accident. I saw the 2 persons. I didn't pay any attention to the 2 legs. The 2 legs were at the bottom of the object, slanted outwards to the ground. The object might have been...
Okay, so that's a key thing there. He only sees 2 legs, and when you see the drawings, they've got 3 or 4 legs. But in his statement here, he's saying he can only see 2 legs. But as you know, the minimum legs you need for an object to stand up is a tripod, which is 3 legs. So just keep that fact in mind as well as we progress.
Been about 3.5 feet from the ground at that time. I just glanced at it. Can't tell how long. I saw object second time, the close time, possibly 20 seconds, just a guess from time. Got out of car, glanced at object, ran from object, jumped over edge of hill, then got back to car and radio as object disappeared.
Now the edge of the hill, he said, was what, 50 feet away? I think that's what it said at the top. Let's see if it tells us information here again. But I'm sure it was 50 feet. But it could be less. We ain't got no specific details here.
Disappeared. As my mic fell as I got out of car, at scene area, I heard about 2 or 3 loud thumps, like someone possibly hammering, or shutting a door or doors hard. These thumps were possibly a second or less apart. This was just before the roar. The persons were not seen when I drove to the scene area.
Okay, so you heard thumps before the roar. That's before it took off, right? So thumps sound like car doors slamming, I guess, is what he's saying there. Or at least a door that's being closed on the craft, right? Or 2 doors in this case, 2 thumps. 2 people, get in. Okay, so...
Just before Sergeant Chavez got to scene, I got my pen and drew a picture of the insignia on the object. Source,
okay.
Actual Project Blue Book Files. Socorro / Zamora Directory Nicap homepage.
So that was quite interesting. Summary, right? Now, just need to look at some of the drawings, I guess. So, that was my old ones. Is this coming up? Yep. Have you got a picture of it here? Well, I had saved it. Might be one. There we go. Okay, so this is an artist's rendering of his drawing. But remember, he only saw 2 feet, but obviously, as science knows, you can't have just 2 feet. So, I suppose, would that be 50 feet away in that drawing, or less? And it's only showing 1 rocket engine. But maybe there was more on there. As you can see, there's not too much known. And of course, there's the red symbol, even though it's the wrong colour here. But yeah, we got some drawing that he did somewhere here. Maybe just look online. Okay, so where's his original drawing? Here it is. He signed it. So that was in the Project Blue Book report. So there's the two legs. So obviously there had to be another one somewhere in the middle there, right? He saw this design in the middle of this oval shaped white object. Not a silver, but he said that it did have aluminum or aluminium, depending on what country you come from, how you say it, alloy, as well as white. So I think the legs were, what he saw weren't white, but were aluminum or aluminium alloy. And the symbol is quite interesting. Now, back to the new witness information. Apparently after she heard his sheriff, his boss, tell the story about the incident, they decided to drive out there to the scene of the crime. Of course, you'd expect it to be taped off and no one allowed to walk around the scene until it was investigated with, plasticasts and stuff. But apparently when she arrived there, which I've got the full letter here in previous live shows, but I'm just summarizing it up here. She said that there were at least a dozen people walking around the crime scene where the UFO was, and I'm not sure if you've seen the terrain of Socorro, but it's kind of like small rocks with little bushes everywhere. It's in the desert, so it's not like a sandy white sands area, but it was actually a little rocky area. I'm not sure if I've got a picture of it here, but we'll have a look. So yeah, the design is very interesting from what he wrote here. This is drawing, so he must have drawn it. So up inverted V with a parallel line underneath, he reckons, and he saw a vertical line in the middle with a circle or arch going over top. So just keep that in mind as well. Let's see, I don't want to bring up my other images yet because they are part of the story. Just want to look at his stuff first. Let's see, I think we've got another drawing here somewhere. Is that the one? Okay, that's the first one. Is that the one? Okay, that's the one, I think. So this is the area where it happened. So this is 2008, and you can see it's very compact type grounds around there with little small rocks and shrubs everywhere. Obviously not the best high quality photograph because we can't zoom in and have a look at the rocks. But you can see there, it's not like the lunar surface, like where you got the loose sand that blow up with the thrusters. So he didn't see any of that. He just saw the blue flame with some orange. So they're saying there's one landing pad hole there. Impression of a pad. And there's going to be another one over here. which is a bit hard to see in that crappy photograph. And there's one there. So there's suggestion it's got 3 landing gear there, right? This is where the story gets a bit interesting. The woman was walking around and she saw the impressions too, like this guy here. And but she's noticed some oil on the bush, fluid, like you know, a liquid oil that you lubricate things with, which sounds very man-made stuff. You know, would aliens have oil or fluid, oil like fluid, crude oil? Would they be using fossil fuel? So yeah, so that sort of brings us to the next part of the story. She years later goes to the museum where they got the surveyor, which was being tested by NASA in Socorro Museum. I wonder if we can bring it up. So I noticed there was a museum over this way on the map when we first brought it up, but let's see. So you noticed the surveyor. Now there were 8 variations, I think it was, of the prototype, initial prototype. Surveyor, lunar, museum. Let's see if we can find it. National Air and Space Museum. That'll be it. Okay, so let's have a look at this. Hopefully we got some pictures. So there they go. They got it suspended on, looks like some cables. So people can walk underneath it, I guess. And this is actually the Surveyor 3 because it's got this tele expanding robot claw that they could control from command center to get a soil sample. But you can see it was solar panels on top. What's happened? What's going on here? Okay. What happened there? It's got some solar panels on top. And that's all we've got on that. So it opened it up. Now you can see straight away the woman saw the 3 landing pads, and of course she walked the site at the time and she said, oh my god, that's what the police officer saw, because it was being tested at White Sands, I think it was. Let's find out. I think it's White Sands. Where was the NASA surveyor being tested? Let's see what comes up here. Surveyor probes were the first US spacecraft to land safely on the moon, right? So before they sent people up there, they sent some test platforms, which makes sense. So we need to find, I've got some information here or not. We read that one out. Yeah, I'll just have to come back to that one. We want to get the surveyor wiki, I think. Surveyor lunar. Here we go, wiki. Now, the first one didn't have a robot arm on it. It wasn't until Surveyor 3, I think, the prototype for that, come with the robot arm. So this was being developed tested in 1964, but it wasn't landed on the moon to 66, was it? 2 years later. Let's have a look. Surveyor 3 returned, obviously with the sample. Right, no. Like, they obviously got a sample, so how did they get the sample to Earth? Did it blast off a rocket? I suppose that's the way you do it normally. One deal action. So they launch it up into space with a normal rocket. And you can see that these rockets produce a very orange flame, not a blue flame. Now, obviously the lander has rockets on it to slow the descent down to the moon's surface, and wouldn't need such big motors on it. Surveyor 3 probably need to look at. Doesn't say much there, does it? Let's see on Surveyor 3. I think that was the more advanced one. It gives us more information. Okay, so Surveyor was the third lander, and touched down in 1967. First mission to carry a surface soil sample and scoop, but how did it get the sample back? So many questions, including television camera. But did they grab the soil sample? Doesn't say that there, does it? Okay. The engines failed to cut off at 14 feet in altitude as called for the mission plans. At first bounce reached the altitude of about 35 feet. So it hit the surface and bounced up like a ball. 10 meters. On the third impact, come down, bounce, bounce. So it looks like they built it pretty well to withstand that sort of punishment. So talks about the soil sample here. But doesn't say much about it. Talks about the camera. So she reckons it's going to be this device that he saw in the desert. And that's sort of like an aha moment. Could she be correct? So this is where the science comes into it. So we need to look more into this thing here. But where's some rocket engines? Here you go. So it's got a leg and it's got a little tiny rocket engine here. And they're all sort of clustered around the same location. So let's get some more pictures up of this thing. Surveyor 3 images. I think I got some stored as well. So where's the rocket engines on this? Not the best of pictures, is it? Black and white. And very small. I got some saved, so we might be able to zoom in. So let's do that. Alright, also we want to know who was building it for NASA at the time, because NASA contracts out stuff, right? Remember? So we need to find out who was building it. Control F. Building. Sure, it's beeping. No. What else can we say? Manufacturer. Manufacturer. Here we go. Is Hughes Aircraft, right? So it's Howard Hughes. So that's another interesting piece of information there. Howard Hughes Aircraft, it says. And we'll just bring up a picture of him. Hughes, Howard Hughes. So there he is. He was the one that sort of was a filmmaker and did daredevil stunts with planes in the sky. Also had a wee bit of OCD, where he didn't like to be around people, and he sort of peed in jars and collected his pee and sort of lived in the room. So he had some strange quirks, but he had lots of money. And of course he had warehouses all around America with his aircraft manufacturing business. So it makes sense that NASA would contract out to him to build stuff based on their plans, right? Now, he owned several businesses, like I said. He owned a company called Aircraft, one called Tool Corp, one was a movie. I'm not sure what the name of that one was. But the manufacture side of things was Tool Corp and Aircraft, Hughes Aircraft. Entertainment. Maybe we can find out quickly here in a search. Businesses. So why is it not working? Here we go. Does it tell us all the way? Hughes Air Chairman, Howard Hughes Corporation, Hughes Aircraft, Medical, Air West Airlines, and it doesn't have the Tool Corp on there, but there is Tool Corp as well. And it wasn't until I did the search on this to see, to come across his logo. So there you go, Tool Company. I don't know if it's got the design of his logo here. Horrible black and white pictures. Manufacturing operations of the company. Texas. 1908, so it's been around for a while. Drill bits. So it makes sense that they would manufacture some bits for the aircraft side of things, right? But it hasn't got a logo there, but instead of searching it, I've already got it saved. So this is where it was like a aha moment. So we got pictures of the surveyor here. and detail on the landing pad side of things. And Howard Hughes. So we know NASA was Apollo at that stage, right? And they've got an upside down V as well, which looks like they've got some circular arch and some horizontal lines here, which are flames from the rocket. So it made me think, was he seeing a Apollo NASA symbol on the side of the heli of the UFO that he was seeing? But also Howard Hughes has a very similar logo. Here it is here. I think that was it. Here we go. I'll just bring that up. So this is his tool, Howard H Tool Company. So what's that look like? It looks very similar with what he saw as well. Upside down V. It had a line underneath and a vertical line going up, but is it possible that he didn't see the rest of the design because there was a lot going on in that short time? And of course it is. So did he see a NASA logo, or did he see a Howard Hughes Tool Corporation symbol on this so-called UFO? So that makes me then think, why would they be experimenting with a egg-shaped rocket? And it turns out that they actually own, let's see, own one of these helicopters, which is very oval shaped and obviously painted white, but this one's painted grey, which doesn't have a normal rotor tail on it. And NASA had one, and also Howard Tool Company had one, or aircraft had one. So you can see they got sliding doors which slide open on both sides, which would account for the bang sound before it took off. So could he have been seeing a helicopter like this, but it's got no flames on it? So a wee bit more research, I found out that they actually used a swing arm where they attached parts of the lunar modules on the side. Now this is where that series on TV where they go to CUFOS, or whatever it is, Center for UFO Study, and they got all those archives there which are not scanned in, so nobody can actually search it online that's not in America. They got to actually go and visit the center and pull out from the library to read stuff, which is pretty bad. So what happens if the library burns down? All the information is lost, right? So it should all be digitally scanned. It should be publicly available. I don't know if it is, but it didn't come on my searches online on Google, so obviously it's through a paywall if it is. So yeah, so now we know that they hooked on the side of these helicopters the lunar landing modules, and one of them would have been the surveyor to transport it around. And so they also used the normal Bell type helicopters, which again could carry lesser loads and also was egg shaped. But we actually got a picture of these helicopters that NASA used to record test flights of the lunar modules, And this is the one for the one that lands on the moon with the men, though. This is obviously a lot bigger than Surveyor 3. As you can see, there's one of the men here, test flying it. And you can see it's got tanks on it, and a big rocket engine down the middle here. Although we can't see it firing the rocket engines, right? There's no flame, but it's obviously floating, which is kind of interesting. And that's definitely flying some distance away, observing it. So is that a blue flame that we're just not seeing? Like a Bunsen burner? So there you go, you know. We got some more pictures here of another helicopter. And guess what? It's that one that doesn't have a tail fin, but 2 rotor blades that go opposite direction. And there's the lunar module there, which apparently they attach on the side of the helicopter. There's the 2-bladed one flying. Now, there were some reports of eyewitnesses seeing a strange-shaped helicopter fly overhead in Socorro. And bingo, here it is. They said it was an odd shape, oval. And they didn't know what it was. Well, it looks like I actually did have a picture of it in the museum. But anyway, it doesn't matter. And of course, we got a picture of them going to take the camera off it, remember? So you can see that it's fairly small, and it could easily fit on the side of the helicopter, the surveyor, compared to the big one, which is in the distance here. And of course, they blast off from the lander itself. The lander is like the surveyor, and then the top half blows off and flies upwards into orbit, and then they dock on with another module of the guy that's circling the moon, and then they fly back, fire off the engines, fly back to Earth, right? And it's all interesting stuff, right? There's on the moon with the robot arm, Surveyor 3. So there's the scoop thing, kind of like unfolds out, and it comes down, takes the scoop of soil. But what did they do? Did they just process it on the moon, send back the results? I guess that's probably what they done. I can't really see how they'd fire that off unless that's part of a rocket here. Take the soil sample here, you'd think it'd shoot it off in a rocket, but it looks like that could get in the way there. So maybe it was processed. Maybe they took the soil sample from there as well to see if it was accurate from the machine that was processing the results. Spectrograph, I guess. Okay, so here we go. Here's the simple going. Upside down V with a line in the middle, which would be like the letter T, and a line at the bottom, which we saw on the Tool Corporation, and we saw it was in a circle. We'll go back to it in a minute. There's a Pylos one. You see, could be that, but there's no line underneath. But if you go to the Howard Hughes one, so this is me splicing the image together, right? There's the Surveyor 3, and they wouldn't have had the top half on. They would have just had the main, the feet, and also the thing, and they probably would have had the other half of it, which because it was going, with the solar cells. Solar panels, I mean. may be too close to the rotor, so they may have unbolted half of it and stored it in the cabin inside, and the rest of it they had on a robotic arm. Now, if the rotor blades were white and spinning around, he wouldn't see them. If all this was white, here's my representation using the letter A from Apollo program. Could that be what he saw from a distance? 50 feet away. It certainly looks like an upside down car, doesn't it? If you look at this here, from a distance, it kind of does look like it could have been an upside down car, because you got the window here and a window here. That looks like, could be on the side even. So you got to see it from his point of view. Was he mistaken identity here, right? There's only 172 of these type of helicopters manufactured ever, and NASA had one, and Howard Hughes Tool company had one. Okay, so the next one I did with the image side by side. There it is there. But to me it does look like it's sort of a really crazy looking helicopter. Now, if it was hovering, it wouldn't have actually landed on this. What it did, what they do is this would have been hovering, and it would have had a robot arm that sort of lowered the rest of this onto the ground to test the suspension of the legs. And you can see here, there's the round tank of gas here, and here's the little engines. They're called vernier engines, and it had one at the base of all the legs, so there's 3 of them. You can see they're not very big, but if all those together fired off a flame, a blue flame, they may have only been firing off one of them, right? Kind of makes more sense. Probably the one in the middle there, right? They would have been testing one of the jet engines. You could say, why didn't they come forward? Why wasn't this found in the investigation? Well, maybe the pilots did it illegally, right? They're not going to own up to it. Maybe something happened. What I believe is that there will be some documentation on that day where Howard Hughes was transporting this to White Sands Air Force Base from a warehouse somewhere in Socorro. Now, other investigators could probably try and see if that's true. We'll see if he had a warehouse there somewhere where the helicopter had a certain range, and they worked out the fuel thing, and it could reach from Socorro City quite easily one way to the Air Force Base and have to refuel. But the mine site where the cops saw it come down was halfway. Alright, we saw on the map, which I've closed down now, that where he was would have been in between the Air Force Base and the city. It would have been out in a remote mining site, and makes sense that before they travelled at the full distance, that they may have wanted to do a few tests to make sure it was working before they dropped it off for the Air Force to do, well, the NASA people at the Air Force Base to do more testing. So yeah, you can see there, it sort of looks like an upside down car from a distance. If the engine was firing here with the raw sound, it would disguise the sound of the chopper blades. Only way to do that would be to simulate it, I guess. Someone could do it, a TV show could do it. They could get one of these helicopters, and they could get the surveyor and maybe, or even a vernier engine, and just mount it on the side of the helicopter and fire it up and see how much noise it makes. So yeah, it's outside of my budget. I'll just carry on. Okay, so here's the one with the egg shape and Howard Hughes Tool thing. So there's the circle bit A, or is that the canopy that he saw? And that kind of looks like the letter A there. That almost looks like an upside down V, I guess, with a line in the middle. So, well, could they have even modified Howard Hughes symbol here and merged it with a Pilo symbol? So NASA / Howard Hughes, which is another possibility. They've got very similar designs. So could he have seen this as a letter A, line in the middle and the line at the bottom, but not actually see that they were actually, it was all connected? And maybe there was like a white background to it and a circle like NASA, like that there. So maybe it had a Pilo, NASA, and inside it may have had the rest of that, right? Which would be scaled down smaller. And that would look like a V with a line underneath. And he may have seen that as a vertical, all this stuff here in the middle, as a vertical line going up. So it's a bit hard to know how the human brain works when they see something like that. Okay, so there's another picture of the other sort of helicopter they used, NASA, which is also egg-shaped. And they did also have robot arms on the side with the lunar modules on the side. And there's that twin-bladed one. Obviously, I don't know if that's the NASA one or a Howard Hughes one, but they had one each. And obviously they used it in 1964. Now, you didn't hear that from Center of UFO Studies. He said it was the lunar module that people were claiming was at Socorro. No, we're talking about the surveyor, which is a really small version, which is smaller than the helicopter. And I've got it mounted on the side here. X-shaped, looks like an upside down car. And so we need to find out about the engines and the footprint size, right? So I think we've gone through all those images. What was that one? Oh, it's in the museum. So you can see it's got 3 feet. We know the spaceman was about here. So we can sort of give an idea that it's actually like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6 spacemen in width. So what width is a spaceman suit? About 2 feet. 6 twos are 12 feet. So 12 feet between each of the pods, roughly. So going by that, and then we can actually go and find the blueprints and see if that's actually correct. And I did. So I started looking into the feet of the surveyor, how it was designed. And you can see And they had various design concepts here, that it basically had some rods. It also had some expansion inside, but we can't see the expansion of these ones. So it had a minimum size it could go to, and it also could stretch out further. You can see the springs here. So it could compress and it also could stretch, which is why it survived that crash landing. So let's just keep looking. We've got some more breakdown of it here. So this part of it wouldn't have been on the helicopter because they didn't need it. Alright, so they could be detached and put into the helicopter, and we only saw the rest of it here. Now, I noticed this one's got a big main retro rocket engine. Not sure what version that is, but that's got one big engine in the middle there, which kind of sounds like what he was seeing. Does it tell us what version this one is? Shock absorber, which is U. Yeah. Now what's that thing there? I. Antenna, I reckon. Omnidirection. Okay. It's a strange place to put it. But we keep on going. Here's a landing pad again. Shock absorber. Strange gauge. We've got a pivot point here. Foot pads. And there's just lots of tests as well. S stands for soil type. So they did it on various soil types with rocks, sand, to see the force, how deep it would go, and how distance the legs would expand. And you can see here I think this is extension. Sorbs. You see here that it absorbs different PSI, I think it is. Okay, let's just move on. And then I did another saw one. Same again. Also the same chart. Maybe I got two copies. Okay, what's this one? Displacement of the legs, right? So it's saying it could expand up to another 6 inches from default position. So I suppose if it's on a slight hill where it lands, it can account for keeping it sort of steady by expanding out the legs a wee bit from the shock absorbers, right? You can stretch the spring. And it talks about displacement going up to 8 inches here. And the PSI pressure being 21. I'll keep on going. Okay, this is Spaceman. So was it 6 Spaceman? 2 foot. I suppose it could easily be. So you can see here the final design. Can we see the rocket engines? You can see that the feet look quite sturdy, right? So they look like tubing. There's a shock absorber here, and it flexes on hinges here. Sounds very similar to what he described as structural. We have got some more information. I'll read it out in a minute. What else we got? Okay, so this was some information I managed to find of the footprints. General area of footprints. So I'm not too sure what that means, whether it's talking about these here or a little bit in the middle, which makes no sense whatsoever, because on that photograph we saw before there was 3 circles and 3 lines around the man. So like that, 1, 2, 3, but here we got 4 for some reason. So if the helicopter was hovering at the time and it sort of was lowering the arm down and it touched one of the pads on the ground first and then decided that it wasn't the right place and then moved it slightly over again, or twisted the helicopter around a bit. So this one here ended up being over here, and then they lowered it right down and started firing off the engines, or testing the robot arm or something like that, because there was meant to be scoop marks there as well. So they may have loaded down the gear to see if it actually touched down. And you can see here it reckons the distance between the burn mark here, which would be where the leg is, right? Because we've already seen the picture, had little vernier engines where the legs pivoted. And there's 10 feet here almost. It looks like he's got these little round marks here, like it's sort of scuffed different distances, which you'd expect with landing pads, right? You'd expect it to leave little scuff marks because it would come down uneven, even on a helicopter. So that could easily be another 3 inches, if that's what that diagram is suggesting there. So that would make it 10, maybe up to 13 inches, right? And hey presto, the other landing pad where the scorch marks are, it's also got some squiggly bits here, is 13 and a half, is it? 13 and 2 bits or whatever it is, 13 feet and 2 inches. So as we found out, the lunar module could expand by 6 inches, 8 inches. So let's just keep on going. So I found this diagram here. Oh, where the engines are. Here's the vernier thrust chamber. You can see they're very small. Big as a hand, a couple of hands, I guess. Vernier thrust chamber. There. Vernier thrust chamber. Tank. So we've got tanks. Just trying to see where it goes to. It looks like it's going to here. Okay, tank. And the vernier engines here. Okay, so we've got 2 round tanks. And at the pivot, we've got a vernier engine. And we've got a vernier thrust tank here. So there's one. Where's the other one? Here and here. So another 2 tanks of gas, and here's one of these small engines. And I guess they got one here. Okay, vernier tank, but we can't see it. We've got some more equipment on top of it here. And there should be a vernier frost chamber. Here it is here. So it's at the pivot points of each of the legs, and we've got a scale here. 60 inches, 0 to 60 inches. So I decided to modify that so we can put it on the drawing itself. So the edge of that, I suppose I should have done it on the edge of the pad, because it sort of made the pad, you know, how it sort of went out on that diagram at the crime scene with the squiggly lines. So it looks like the shock expander was expanding here. I still think it's the surveyor. Everything seems to fit. So we got 60 inches to there, then another 60 inches to there, and then we got another 20 inches there, plus we got to add on a few here. So that's middle. So it looks like another 10 there. So that's 70, 60, that's 130, plus 20, 150 inches. So what's that calculated? So let's plug it in. And this is how I do science investigations. So 150 times inches to feet. Because that diagram had feet, not inches, right? Hey, bingo. What did I say on the thing? So we're 12.5 feet, so we need to go back to that diagram. Let's just go around circles. So it's 12.5 feet from there to there, plus you could add on another 7.7 inches. So that's another almost a foot, isn't it? 12 inches, a foot, 8 inches. It's close to another foot. So it can expand from 12.5 to 13.5. So just keep that in mind. And go back to this one again. So 10, almost 10 feet, plus whatever that comes to there. So it's a wee bit squashed in, the smallest we'd expect. Should have been 12.5 feet. Could it be because it was an uneven ground, and it dug in? And here it's 13 and 2 inches, which sort of matches that ballpark between 12.5 to 13.5. Bingo. So that one's correct. This one's 11. Almost 12. 12 feet. So that's in the ballpark. 14, 15 feet's a wee bit too far. We estimated at 13.5. And we got 14.5 going between there. So, to me, these ones here look more correct. Mind you, it's talking about burn marks here. So we know that's at the pivot point of the thing. So what's that saying? That the between the burn mark where the rocket engine was coming down was 10 feet to a pad mark. It's a bit hard to tell on this diagram, eh? I wish they'd do better investigation than this, you know. So that would make sense. Let's see. the engine fires and creates a burn mark. We know it goes out in the shape of a cone, so it's going to create a scorch mark that could be less than 12.5 feet to the pad. There, so they could fire it off one engine. They may have fired it off here and didn't touch down properly, and they drifted over this direction here and rotated maybe, and fired it off again. So between there and there is the landing pad, and there's the other landing pad. Doesn't say any scorch marks though. No scorch marks. But that 13 feet is in the ballpark of the other landing pads. Now let's see, if that was at the pivot point, just trying to wrap my head around it, whether we can draw it or not. It's a shame we haven't got a photograph, a photograph, and then have the measurements actually on the photograph. Then we could overlay it, right? And we could figure it out a bit better. So why would it be 15.5 that direction to that pad there? Maybe it's skidded down. See what? These little squiggly lines don't seem to make any idea for me here. You can see this is why it's really hard to investigate stuff, especially old cases. So we got 19 feet from that scuff mark to there, but I think one of these was a touchdown, initial touchdown, but not full landing, and this is where the full landing happened. 13, 14, and 10 plus some. So it kind of fits the surveyor locations anyway. So, what's the chances that a alien craft come down and has almost the same dimensions as the surveyor? You see what I mean? Does sort of put some doubts on the whole thing. Sort of matching up, I think, and of course that new eyewitness case. Have we got any other stuff that we need to talk about on this? See, there's that one there. I wonder if we can overlay the surveyor on that image there, because they've got, at least it's a photograph, and you can see here it's on a slope, which is what I'm saying. Which way would the helicopter be? It would be... It would have to been that side here, right? And the vernier engine would have been where this bush is here. And that bush there. And the other bush this side here. So you can see if they fired it, it would probably catch a bush on fire. But it's obviously not going to create any big hazard fire. A bush, like a wildfire. They could see it wouldn't last very long in that desert. So let's take that and an image of the surveyor and see if we can actually see how it fits. I guess this might have to be this one today. I will do a catch up maybe tomorrow. A part 2. But I just want to finish off the Socorro one. So, where was that guy? Here somewhere. We need to open him up. How's the audio sounding out there? 1, 2, 3. Sounds pretty good this end. Okay. So there's the man. You can see how low quality the picture is. I don't know if there's something better out there, but it's all we got to work with. So we can scale it up, and it's going to look grainy as hell. Now we need to Oh, excuse me. Terrible. I shouldn't be tired. So we've got the blueprint, but we want to pitch a photograph. Here we go. So what's a good one to get? I think we got an orange frame on that one there. This one's been cropped. So let's drop that on there. Scale it up proportionally. And how's it looking? Probably too big now. Scale it down. Proportional. So we know this got 3 feet. So it probably have to be turned. Maybe, and we need to do the 2 closest ones better. I don't know if this is going to work out or not, but yeah, look. There's a foot, there's a foot. But now we need to swing it around that way for the other one, which is over here. And you can see, let's see if we can erase some of this. Be interesting if it works. We can't really see the other foot on this, but we can at least get 2. Now you can see the vernier engines are going to be very small. We can't really even see them, but we'll see if we can find some more information on it and see what color flame they have. Alright, there's the surveyor. So we just want to look at the feet here. We know it can expand another foot almost. Why can't I grab it? Why is it not grabbing? Something strange going on. Yeah. Okay, so we got that there to there. And it could be a bit bigger, because we know it can expand. I don't really like it on an angle like that though. Where's the grab handles gone? Zoom out. Yeah. Expand it. To expand it a wee bit more. We know it can. We know it's going to be expanding on that Heli bit here. So if we rotate, let's measure between the other feet. And we haven't got the perspective right. These are the closest ones. But it does look like it's symmetrical to me. Let's do it between the 2 far ones on the other one. Between there and there. There you go, look. And the other foot, which is on the other side, which is down nuisance, we need it on this side. I think it lines up right. It's looking pretty good to me. Bingo, bingo. And we need the other foot. Come in this direction. I think it would line up. How can we get around that? I don't know if you can draw that in or not. Yeah, shame we haven't got an overhead look. Then we could use the blueprint. But to me, that looks like it's lining up. And if you had the helicopter that other side, so let's do that. We're just going to bring in the helicopter. Wherever attached. It's that one, I think. Yep, there we go. So we'll try that one. Oops. Scan on. Add layer. So that's what he would have been looking at. So there would have been like 3 men in that helicopter, I would say. There would have been the pilot that would have been hovering it above the ground, and that door probably stayed closed, but the door on the other side probably opened up. So that's where that boom sound was, the boom boom. You know how the sliding doors sort of slide along, boom, and then they clip into place, boom. So this would have slid open from there to there probably. 2 men would have jumped out, walked around, just to do a few checks. And it was all okay, so they took off again. Didn't notice the cop. And they flew on towards the airbase to drop it off. That's what I think. But this, as far as I know, the only one that's sort of come up with the helicopter of this and drawn the attachment on it. Because you're not allowed to debunk this one. Whoop, took off too much there. Because this is the sacred cow of UFO cases, right? So we're kind of looking at that. I don't know if we can see the foot in this one, but it looks like it's in the right direction. There's the foot. Where's the other end? So it's starting to look right for that man's size, yeah. Need to make it a wee bit bigger again. I think that's kind of looking the right size for the man. There to there, almost, maybe a bit bigger. Where's the edges gone? There to there, comes down. There's the other foot. It needs to rotate slightly this way, but it's in the right location. Boom. And does that look like the right size for him? If it's slightly back further, I think it would be. He's a fairly big guy, that. He would be able to fit in the back of the helicopter. So to me, that's a match. If that was hovering, that lowered it down. The vernier engines there in the middle, there and there. Whether they were all foreign, I don't know. But one certainly was. Okay, we're sort of done with that now. Vernier engines. I think I've got some other information here. So we read out that one. Okay, Vernier. Let's see what we can find out about it. Vernier, obviously a German name. Engine specs. What engine? Try that. So we got some pictures. And a thruster on a rocket, but it's not those little tiddly ones. So they could be quite big. What they use in the space shuttle. And they can be small. Like these ones here. Hand size. So they used it on all sorts of things. The vernier engines. So we need to do surveyor. And here we got it for surveyor. That's how big it was. Look. Fits in the hand. 3 of those. That's not going to be big enough to launch that upwards slowly in Earth's gravity, but it will on the moon. Well, it will slow its descent down, which they didn't fire properly apparently on the Surveyor 3, but it survived because of the solid landing gear they designed on it with shock absorber. So it comes down. Vernier engines. Have we got one where it's being fired for the surveyor tool? I suppose it depends what gases they're using as well. Wonder if we can find out. Would it have been a blue-orange flame? Flame color. And probably have to read something on it. Probably. See, we can never find the information we want. Out to fire. Yeah, I don't see anything there. Of course, they got it far in there. It's a black and white picture, was it? I would say it would be let's see, van, engine surveyor, fuel. Okay, see what we can find out what fuel they use. And so this picture of the tanks, surveyor, here we go, let's have a look at that one. So there's a little vernier engines that we know had one in each of the pivot areas. Because we're trying to find what gas it used. What's that one there? Talks about rocket engine. Hydrogen and oxygen. Alright. Would normally be. It's not opening up. Really tiny. Damn it. Okay, let's see if we can find some blurb on the fuel. Like I said, it's really hard to find all the information you need. Surveyor. Okay, let's see. Fuel blend. That should be here, shouldn't it? And it's very small print. Good one. How can we read it? Can we read that small print? No. Okay, download it. Okay. Format. Text. Ah, God. In note. I don't know. I don't think it's going to work, is it? We want a text file. Or PDF. Suppose we can open with hex editor. Yeah, that's not working either. It's on the other screen. Send to Notepad. Yeah, sort of come up with that. And that's the reference that we got, wasn't it? So EndNote wasn't the correct one. So God knows. Let me zoom in and read it. Artifacts. Testing. Thruster. Water addition. Vapor pressure. Well, I don't know, guys. I can't see what we're after there. I'd say it'd be hydrogen, but got something else there. We'll just keep on going. Surveyor rocket engine. MH with water. So there you go. Oxidizer. Nitric. Nitrogen. Oh, it's complicated, isn't it? Nitrogen using mixed oxygen oxides. Nitrogen. Dichloroxide with 10% nitric oxide. And what's the other fuel? And MMH with water as fuel. Okay, so we need to find out what MMH is. I'll just keep that one there. MMH. I don't think it's that. I want fuel. Magnesium hydrate, hydrogen. Fuel. Mono methylhydrazine. Low fuel tank system. So yeah, we have to become rocket engineers, huh? So it's hydrogen and nitrogen carbon based. That makes sense because SpaceX uses kerosene. And anything with carbon, as you know, is atmosphere and destroys the atmosphere, ozone. But it creates a lot of good energy and requires less size tanks on the spaceships to create as much more energy than hydrogen can alone. So what color will that burn is the question. And we probably won't be able to find out. So we want to search on that. Color burns. Is deadly, volatile, chemical. Okay. With a deep orange color, what's that saying there? Blue color. Okay. And here it's saying it's colorless. Okay, this but we want to know what it burns. Well, burns can occur So it's a colourless, which you would expect, I suppose. Carbon, hydrogen. Could that be where the one's being tested here? Hypergolic fuels. Still can't get a specific answer here. Okay, this blue flame. Let's try that. See if that comes up together. There we go. Due to hyperglossity, orange and blue. Blue-white flames. That's what he saw. Sounds like the right stuff, doesn't it? And what's it say down here? And 1 weak blue-white flame. 2 orange flames. So depending on what oxides you use, and how much you use of it, I guess. Oh, here we go. Blue flame. Depending on how much oxygen you mix in with it, oxides as they call it. So it can be orange and blue. Experimental study. So it's still fitting together, guys. What he saw with the surveyor. From what I'm seeing, anyway. I thought we were going to get some pictures of it. Let's go back and type images, see what we get. Okay, it is orange. It is the blue. Oxidizer nozzle. Blue, white. Yeah, it's not really giving us what we want. What am I missing? Oh, it might be all I can do with this right now. I think I've sort of covered everything that they don't tell you on all the other places, right? So it depends what they're mixing in, which changes the output here. More oxidizer, the more the flame will be blue, right? Less oxidation, the more the flame will be orange. And the Bunsen burner is blue, I know, but that uses LPG, doesn't it? Which is a carbon-based nitrate as well. Nitrate. LPG. Bunsen burner. I think it's LPG. How do you spell Bunsen? Bunsen burner. These things there, and they got blue flame coming out the top of that one. gas. It's been a long time since I've done it at school. Natural gas. Methane. Propane or butane. Oh, here we go. And this is exactly how the jet engine, I meant not jet engine, the rocket engine. So what they're saying here, air hole closed is number 1. So less oxygen, it's orange. Slightly more oxygen, it's starting to turn blue and orange. And then air hole half open, orange is disappearing. And fully open, totally blue, and that's where it's hottest. There you go, and I think that's what he saw. So when it first lit, it would have been like that. Maybe something like blue-orange. There we go, and what is natural gas? I think that's a carbon, nitrogen, hydrogen. What's the elements of natural gas? Oh, okay. Methane, propane, butane. It's not telling us. Carbon, nitrogen, hydrogen. Exactly what I said. And this varies depending on what form it is up here. Depends how much carbon or these elements it's got. So carbon, nitrogen, hydrogen. Oh, I think that's Socorro done with, as far as I'm concerned. To me, I think my solution is better than some aliens. So there was some other information here. Saw the roar, which you get with a jet engine. We're sort of going through all this in signature, which is either a combination of Apollo and Tool Corporation, or a merge of them. What else we got? Unidentified investigations by FBI. See, they needed me on their team, didn't they? You would have thought Hynek might have noticed it as well, but you know, I suppose there's more information nowadays than it would have been back then. It's easier to search for stuff online now and find images and sort of go, aha, moment. Well, back then it was a lot harder because you had to look at technical references, and you had less access to experts, I guess, to what you have online where they write up stuff. So yeah, I can understand why it would have been harder back then to investigate 1964. But I think people saw that flying overhead with one of these crazy helicopters, and because the engine was firing, they were test firing in the air, coming down and then going up and then turning off and then flying off when it was out of range, so you wouldn't hear the rotor blades. That's what I think. And they were just transporting it from the warehouse to the Air Force Base, and they did a quick test on the way there. Maybe didn't even write it in the logbook. Maybe they didn't think of it. Maybe they didn't even click at the time, or maybe they had a chuckle when they read it in the newspaper. They saw a UFO and they're chuckling. They're probably all dead now, though. We can't interview them. But they're all chuckling, saying, haha, that was us. They would have thought it was quite funny. So yeah, I could put you the link to that one. That one. I'm supposed to close down there. And that's got all the other links that we used. Socorro, New Mexico, incident. And it's got all the key information. I think it's even got all the key documents there. But let's have a look before we close it down. Just over 2 hours at the moment. Full project book accounts. Here we go. Clippings. So you can even read all these here. And it's meant to have pictures. I'm not sure what that is. It's a bit hard to see it. Certainly newspaper clippings. Is that all we got? Oh, what happened there? Letter. Yeah, I suppose you can open it up somehow. Orange County. I've got a helicopter. What's that one about there, I wonder? And it's got the 2 feet. That come in, did a few tests, and then flew off. $100. You'd expect $1 million nowadays. But it hasn't got all the eyewitness accounts from a few years ago. Certainly a lot of documents there. Oh, here we go. What's that talking about? Wind currents? Which is what I was going to talk about for another case, but I'll do that tomorrow. Yeah, let's see if we got any better information here. Okay, so we got some footprint stuff here. If we can zoom in on it. So what do we got here for dimensions? 12.5, look. 12.5 across depth. 1/2 inch, which I think on those charts I looked at, 2 inches was right. The pads could go up to 4 inches, I think it was. What's that say there? Possible end of print. So not too sure why it's sort of like round circular marks. Possible end of print. Oh no, that's not 12 feet, that's 12 inches, is it? 12 inches, is it? Oh no, the double thing at the top, is that inches? Or is that feet? I think it's feet, isn't it? Double. What's that one say there? It could be inches. 12 inches for a landing pad, okay. with 2 inches deep. And there you go, it must be inches. 2 things is inches, I think. Okay, that's not, that's different. We're looking at the actual pad itself. And we'd have to go back to the thing, but I think it's about right for the surveyor again. Being 12 inches. Where's the diagrams again? Prints. These ones here. Come on, open up. Okay, so it goes from... Let's go back a bit here. 5 there. Now that's 10. It does look like 12 inches. There you go, look. Damn, 12 inches. There is 5. Negative 5. That's 0. Somewhere there, it's not quite center. Then there's 5 there. But it looks like there's a few more inches here. Maybe midway. So what's midway between 5 and 10? 2, isn't it? 2.5. There you go. Matches the pad of the surveyor. Another match. Not only the distance between the legs, but also the pad size. Gee, I'm good. There you go. And there was 3 pad sides, so this is what they're saying here. And does it say what distance apart they are? Doesn't, does it? But it's 3 there, not 4 like the other diagram. So, which had the burn mark. But then the burn marks are different. Okay, keep going. We never know what we'll find. Is that the diagram with the dimensions? We've got a triangle shape there. Don't know. 5, 6 inches it's talking about. Okay, keep on going. Here's the one that seems to have more information on it. It's got more circles here, which is a bit confusing. I'm not sure if anyone can make head or tail of that diagram. Center of area footprints. If that's the case, well, that means it's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 circles for footprints. So could it have touched down multiple times? Sure could. But what's the distance between the maximums? Okay, there's 8 inches. 10 feet. It's a bit hard to understand it though. Damn it. Yes, I don't know. I'm not sure how to read that. But I think it sort of matches up there with the surveyor. As if alien craft would have the same dimensions, you know, and the same size footprints, and the same, same small engines, and with this blue and orange flame. You know, it sounds really man-made technology. Anyway, you got the link there. You can have a look at it in your own time. I'll post it in the comments since no one joined me today. But it's their loss, I guess. Because no one else will be none the wiser unless they watch me. Okay, so I was going to talk about air currents around mountain ranges and around the planet for a case, which we'll do in optical lenses. I was meant to cover that game, so that'll be next time. So I better wrap it up there. And I need to get a drink and all that business now. Oh, there's that one that slowed us down, the old Microsoft Edge. Bye-bye. Okay, and I'll say good night. I don't think I've missed anything. But I'll leave it there, even if I have missed something. I can always do another live show just to add it on. But I'd like to create a summary live, and this is basically the summary live of all the things I found. The only thing I didn't show you is oh yeah, I should have really got that too for you. But there's a playlist. Let's just do that before I close off. Playlist of all those three in it. With the letter, the new information, new eyewitness accounts is in there. Okay, it should be easy enough to find. Socorro. Should have the lander on the front, I think. I didn't see it. Okay, David. Dan, no. Ghost Rockets. Bob Lazar. Special episodes. Bigfoot. Tic Tac UFO cases. Science. Manners. Indian flying craft. Anti-gravity experiments. Come on, where's Socorro? That should have been in the list. Damn, eyes are blurry. Why can't I see you? Okay. Where's my search I had? It's so hard to see stuff. Okay, there's a play all. It's not that one. Low strings, not that one. Just could have sworn I had a playlist for it. Let me just click on that one. That was the one I summed up pretty much everything to. But Rob sort of interfered, arguing.
Welcome to Out There Chat.
Plus there's a weird echo on that. I'm not sure if that's fixed or not. What's the live streams? Oh, that's really strange. It's almost like it's got deleted. Looks like there is no playlist for it. I might have to create one. Oh, here we go. Socorro, there is one. Okay, it's in there. So why couldn't I see it? So only 49 people have ever watched that one. So only 49 people are wiser when only 3 liked it. So yeah, why didn't the playlist come up here then? I never understand Google. Live streams is there, but where's the other one? It's like it's not showing everything. Playlists. All playlists. Graded playlists. Maybe I clicked on the wrong one. Okay, so let's see now. Oh yeah, there's a lot more here now. Maybe I was in the wrong section last time. Okay. Here it is. I told you it had the picture of the helicopter. So we want that one. I'll post it on the side here. And I'd have to put this one into that as well. This summary is number 4. And edit. Alright. So it's all there now. And we can sort of wrap up now. 2.5 hours, damn it. Don't want it to be that long. So good night everybody. Hopefully you enjoy it when you come to watch it. It'll be interesting trying to do chapters for that too. Still more work to do. I'll just end this early.